I dropped the key in the snow to the back door. That was a pain in the arse the other day. Couldn't find it. Took ages to find it. You know, I didn't realise it. I dropped it, so I didn't know what the hell I'd done with it. One minute I had it, the next I didn't, and I didn't have a consciousness of at what point I'd actually lost it. So spent ages looking around the house. Had I done something absent-mindedly? Oh dear, what a palaver. Eventually did find it in the snow by the back gate. I have actually had to wear quite a lot of headgear during this cold spell. Very unusual. About 4 layers, I think, when I went for a walk. But I think I had on a balaclava. I had a neck gaiter. I had a hoodie. And when it was snowing, I pulled over my anorak hood. And that was very good. It protected me against what was a really biting easterly wind. Normally I wouldn't have on all that. You really don't need it, not in these parts. That snow is very unusual. Very unusual indeed. And in fact, it's almost all gone now. And I'm going to be going for a run, I think, this afternoon. I did see 3 runners yesterday afternoon on the evening constitutional, whereas I didn't see any on Thursday or Friday when it was all snowed up, which was very sensible of people, and they shouldn't have gone out. I'm going to leave it till this afternoon. Right, need to be very careful on this decking. Well, it's not too bad actually. Still a bit of snow on the ground. The bird bath is not frozen, so that means it'll be certainly above freezing. Not too bad actually. Just taking some vegetable peelings and eggshells down to the worms in the wormery. And they're cosy in the shed. I'd like to have these worms in the kitchen actually, but I've got a very small kitchen and there really isn't room. So they're in this little outhouse. I do have a larger compost bin, but these worms get the choicest of the peelings. Don't suppose they're very active. So we've had this spell of very chilly weather. See if I can see a worm anywhere. Wormies. I don't know. Does a worm have a front end? I suppose it does. Yeah, it would do. It goes in one end and comes out the other, doesn't it? Actually, the moon this month, the full moon, was called the worm moon. Because that's the time that our ancestors noticed that the worms were starting to emerge from the soil, be more active. It's actually not that cold. I'm wearing my dressing gown. Right, that's the worms.
You ever sit next to that loud dude on the subway?
Darkness shrugs and bids the
cities and towns, in Boston, but yeah, during that period, the two of us were working pretty bad. It was a lot of fun. It was great, you know, jumping out of the job sites and everything. But yeah, if you totally different working like completely, it was like night and day, which actually made for a good transition like coming to road, right? When I started roading,
wrap the babe in scarlet covers, calling your own.
Still like it was all work. Like we've grown a lot in the past 2 years.
Talk about your ills. One man gathers what another man spills.
How you doing? I'm at McDaniel's farm today, walking on the trails around the area. It's a pretty nice place. It's not a real big park, but it's good enough to get in some walking. I got 45 minutes to walk, and I've already halfway through it, so it's a good walk.
Ron is taking us along on his walk. Of all our podcasting friends, Ron is the early adopter of all the latest technologies. He was one of the first of us to start podcasting and making high quality videos with his head mounted, then body mounted, then stick mounted equipment. I have borrowed this video for its audio content.
A little something different to do while I'm walking. It's all paved trails. I think there's some trails that cut off through the woods here, but I have no idea where they go, so I'm just sticking to the asphalt today. And get my 45 minutes in, 2 miles and something. Looks like I found some unpaved trail after all. Have no idea where it goes, but I'll just follow it and see what happens.
McDaniel Farm is one of the last remaining large tracts of land sold in the 1820 land lottery. The McDaniel family bought the property in 1859 and farmed the land until 1999, similar to many Georgia farms. This property was a subsistence farm, meaning that the McDaniel family used 125 acres of land to produce everything they need to live. Using timber from the property, the farmhouse was built in 1874 and the barn was built in the early 1900s. This typical Gwinnett County farm provides a glimpse into the daily life of Georgia farms throughout history.
Well, hello. This is my 5 minutes of talk on the subject of headgear. I have put a lot of thought into this. Having recently had surgery on my head, or my eye specifically, it made me realize all the stuff that we adorn ourselves with From time immemorial, people have been decorating their heads. Obviously, the head is the most important part of the body. It bears all of our sensory organs, our eyes, our ears, our nose, our mouth. And it protects our brain, the organ that has separated us from almost all other living creatures who have the ability to reason and to appreciate the subtleties of the world around us. I thought that Headgear would give us an opportunity to really think outside the box. Headgear could be apparel like hats, or in my case, bandanas. The head is how we are identified visually by others. They look at us from a distance and they see our heads. They see what we're wearing on our heads. Kings have always stood out from the crowd because of the crown that they wear. This isn't exclusively the demarcation of royalty. I believe the Stone Age people used to wear neck jewelry, the sign of a leader in the old Stone Age bronze era was to wear a heavy torque around the neck, which is like a horseshoe-shaped braided bronze collar. But nowadays we suffice with crowns for monarchs and hats for us mere mortals. For me, wearing a bandana is part of my uniform. Most people would not recognize me without my bandana, mainly because I wear it almost every single day for the last 15 years, I guess. It started off as vanity, I guess, not wanting to have to worry about combing my thinning hair, not wanting to get involved with the comb-over look. And after that, it became more of a uniform. I mean, slapping on a bandana will cover up any issues with untidy or unsightly hair. It means that I could have any kind of haircut. It does not bother me in the slightest, because even if I have my head shaved, I will put on my bandana and appear normal once again, at least in my eyes. Well, I'm sure I have probably rambled on a fair bit about headgear by now. Earbuds, that's another thing. Harnessing the power of the ears to absorb information is one of those God-given gifts that we seldom appreciate as fully as we should. So, leaving the option for others to add their 5 minutes worth on the subject of headgear, I will call it done for me today and get back to my walk. Bye-bye.
This is Suzanne, calling in from Lexington, Kentucky with my 5 minutes on headgear. I'm out walking Travis McGee, and we're enjoying a sudden cold snap with snow this morning. Not much, but it's not as warm out here as I would like for it to be, and I wish I had bothered to put a little headgear on. I've always loved hats and sunglasses and things like that from the time that I was very small. I guess I was kind of a girly girl. And then moving to Chicago in the winter, I found out I could really indulge my love of hats, headgear. And I didn't wear the standard. In Alabama, we called them toboggans. I know, that's what everybody else calls all sorts of different things, but we called them toboggans for just a standard kind of cap, toque, I believe you call it in Canada. I forget. But that wasn't my style, and I liked a good hat, and I found an actual milliner who now is quite famous. Fortunately, I was able to get my hats while they were just still an arm as opposed to an arm and a leg. And I have a collection of about 10, which don't get quite the use in Lexington, even though you think of Lexington and derby hats. People here just don't wear them, which is a shame. But I do. It's called hatitude. You just put it on and go. And many people will stop and comment. My favorite comment, I had a lovely hat that my friend had made for me that I wore to France. And we were touring Provence by train, various places. We were stopped someplace. And I had on my hat and trench coat type of outfit. And a very, very dapper Frenchman came up to me. He was gray-haired, very dignified, had on a blue double-breasted blazer, and I don't know, I think of him as kind of a captain's cap, just really driving cap. And he came up to me and said, "Bon chapeau, madame." And I smiled and said, "Merci." And he said, "Très bon chapeau." And I melted in my heart a little bit. It was just a very delightful part of those journeys that you never forget. So, wishing I had the appropriate headgear, I'll continue getting Travis walked.
Good evening, everybody. This is Ellen from beautiful the Berkshires, recording to you this evening in the middle of a good old Northeastern. So this week's topic, I believe, is headgear. It's kind of an interesting topic because there's not a whole lot of headgear when you run. However, in the past, I have wore headgear before, mostly boxing, so I consider it pretty essential in some areas of sports, but certainly there's not a whole lot of headgear in running that's necessary. I guess maybe some people would consider earphones or headphones as headgear. I personally, although I love music, I find it's distracting to me when I run. Some of the things that happen to me, I'm a child of the 70s, so I love rock and roll. and I find myself running too fast and too hard when I listen to music and burning out. And because my goals are distance and not speed, it's very counterproductive. However, when I have my off days and I walk, I love listening to my music. I just read a big article on how music changes the brain and releases dopamine, which is a feel-good chemical in the brain, and I believe all that. It does a lot of other things too for special needs kids. So we are a very music-oriented family, but I don't listen to it when I run. I do have hats in the winter because I live in New England, and so usually I used to wear a traditional running cap, toque. They call them toboggans. There's so many different names for them, but they're pretty tight on your head and they keep your ears warm and they stay put when you run. But this year I've been doing something a little bit different. I've been crocheting these hats and they become pretty popular. I started out doing it for a friend whose husband has cancer as sort of an awareness, and we called it Miles for Greg, and I made sort of tags for the hat that I sewed on saying Miles for Greg with a hashtag, and was hoping that somebody who wore that hat, somebody else would say, gee, what's that about? And through, just encounters, we would get the word out about how important it is to be aware of cancer and all that families go through. But it kind of transformed into other things where people were asking me to make them a hat and put my own special logo on it that kind of defines my family. We run soul to soul, soul being shoes, to soul meaning our heart. So we just kind of run for our head and our heart. And so I made this little logo, and I've had a lot of people actually offering to market them for me or asking to make one for them personally, and I've been offered money. I'm not interested in making it a business. I'm not interested in selling them at all. So I just want to clarify that, but it's just kind of really neat to be out in public and see someone else wear your hat. I had to teach myself to crochet first, so that's interesting. So then from there we went to, I made a hat with leftover yarn. My husband made fun of me. He said I look like a troll. So I said, well, I'm a trail troll. So now we have 2 hats that I'm sort of distributing to people who ask, trail troll hats and my soul to soul hats. But that's probably the maximum headgear I would wear for running. I'm training. I'm in a slump right now running, but I definitely have some goals for some races I'm signed up for this summer. Most of them are endurance races, either timed races or distance races, and I'm going for a buckle, and it's a big job for someone who's as inexperienced as I am and started running so late. So I maybe set myself up to fail, but, you fail, you get up, you go on, right? I mean, the only real failure you ever have is when you're dead and you can't do it anymore. So this is my 5 minutes. This is about headgear, and I certainly love listening to everybody, and I hope that this suffice. Over and out from the Berkshires of Massachusetts.
Hi, this is Max Loftus, and this is your 5 minutes. Today, I guess we're talking about headgear. One of my favorite headgear things for running is my mom's hats. They're very warm and cozy and comfy, and they're colorful, and I like them. And also, sometimes you need your brain for trails. That might be headgear. I need to think and use my brain on trails. That's part of the reason why I like the trails. And also, back to the hats. The hats, my mom's amazing with those. She has already made a lot, and she is good at them, and they are my favorite hats. And also, she makes a lot for the family, and we all like them. And I'm surprised that she would have the patience to do all that. Like, I wouldn't have the patience to make a lot of hats. It would be hard for me to make hats for everyone and do that. I think I just make like one in a month. My mom can make 30 a month. It's very impressive. And she makes them so comfy, and she makes them the right size. And also, back to the other headgear, for brains, for the trails, you need brain and to go. Think of if you're going downhill and you're going fast, and it's hard to stop. Like the force bringing you down, it's kind of hard to stop. So when you think about where you go, you gotta take careful steps and gotta think about where you're gonna step next on a slippery rock or a wet log or a spot that's not wet. And also, you gotta think about where you want to go next. If you want to turn right or left, if you're going downhill, you gotta think very fast, because by the time you can think about where to go, you have to turn. And if you don't, you might run into a little tree, which kind of hurts. And also, when you're using headgear as like your brain, you have to think about where you're positioning your foot, because the snow could be slippery, or there could be ice, and like under the snow you can't see the ice, but then there is ice, and you fall. So when you're using headgear, or your brain, excuse me, you gotta think about that. And also you gotta also, let me think, this is kind of hard to think about, especially for 5 minutes. And just, you have to really think. On roads, this is why I don't like them, because you don't think. And part of headgear is kind of like your brain. I mean, you could say it's not, but I think it is. And you need your brain a lot, and you need thinking a lot in trails. That is why I like it. It gets me thinking, and it gets me out of trouble. So when I think, I'm not really into hypering out. And also, it just calms me down and lets me stop my brain and just think. Road, there isn't that much to do. Yeah, you have to stop so a car can go. But other than that, there's nothing. And my mom's hats are really warm. They're perfect.
So I guess that this is the end of the show for this week. I thank Ree, Chris, Ron, me, Suzanne, Ellie and Max for their excellent submissions.